All right, so I have this question here from YouTube, and I want to thank the people that listen to the podcast on YouTube. For those who don't know, the podcast is also syndicated on YouTube, so you can listen to the podcast on YouTube. I realize that some people are not very conversant with Spotify, especially people that are older. And I know some of you would want to share some of this podcast with maybe your parents or older ones that are not very they're not very familiar with Spotify. So you can go to YouTube. It's called the TA podcast. Search for it, and you can always share content from the podcast on YouTube. So please feel free. And for those who are listening on YouTube, I see you, and I got this question on YouTube yesterday based on the podcast I made yesterday on friendship and courtship before marriage. And so if you've not listened to that podcast, I would advise you to listen to it. It's called Friendship Before Love, Courtship Before Marriage. I would advise you to listen to it. Because this question comes from some of the things I said in that podcast. And I want to thank everyone that gave me feedback on that podcast. I see that a lot of people got value from it. And I want to thank you for taking the time to tell me this. As much as you listen to the podcast, please, if you can leave a comment, I would always appreciate it. And leave a comment, share it with someone that you feel needs it. It will be, I think it would be a great value to a lot of people. So the question I have today says, "Good evening, sir. Thanks a lot for this podcast. Listening to the part where you said women are supposed to build with a man, I don't know. Are you saying women shouldn't have their own path or their own career?" Now, this is a good question. Am I saying women shouldn't have their own path or their own career? That's exactly what I'm saying. I'm saying once a woman is married, a married woman doesn't have her own path anymore. That's exactly what I'm saying. A married woman shouldn't have her own career anymore. At least in my view, taking time to think about it, taking time to, a lot of things have been revealed to me about it. I have been through it. And I believe a married woman shouldn't have her own career or something she calls her own path. But that's not all I'm saying. I'm also saying a married man should not have his own career or his own path either. So this doesn't only cover a married woman, it also affects a married man. You see, this thing we call a career, we don't understand that it's a cage. It's a cage. And it's a cage with only space for one. Careers are cages with only space for one. When you go to a school, study a particular subject matter, and you become a professional and start to work, that becomes your career. They don't give you a certificate for two. It only covers you. Only you. After your schooling and training, have a certificate for your career. It is a very individualistic term. A career is a cage for both a man and a woman. It opposes a lot of what marriage stands for. You see, this might shock a lot of you. It might throw a lot of you, your perception of life, it might jig it a bit. For some of you, it might turn it totally upside down. But I want you to listen closely with as much of an open mind as you can. I know it's very hard because you've been taught differently, but that's also intentional. The way you have been taught. The way you have been taught profits few, but it doesn't profit you. The way a lot of us have been taught is very intentional. So if what I'm saying sounds strange to you, and a little bit of you, a lot of you is resisting it right now, I'm not surprised. I resisted it for a while too, because I was taught differently by society. But that did not happen by accident. It was very intentional to profit a few, which doesn't include you. Careers work against marriage. Personal paths work against marriage. A career can be a placeholder if you're a single person. But once you get married, a lot, I won't just say a lot, everything changes. You see, a lot of us have very faulty perceptions of marriage, and it's getting worse as the generations go by. Getting worse. But a lot of us have this perception of marriage. There are two strong perceptions of marriage that people have that are all failed perceptions of marriage. The number one perception of marriage that people have is that it's a day in their life. A day. So a lot of people confuse a wedding for a marriage. A day. So they prepare so much for that day. That day, they are so excited about the day. But after that day, it all goes downhill. That's why they're always looking to keep the excitement of the day. They walk towards that day. It shocks me to see how much people prepare for their weddings. They will do pre-wedding documentary, pre-wedding photo shoot, proposal documentary, all those things, all towards that day. Short clips, reels of the wedding. You understand? So it's almost like a premiere to a film. You understand? So it's a day. A lot of people see marriage as a day. And after that day, life goes on as usual. And as the experience of that day begins to wane, so does the attachment of the person you got married to that day. That also begins to wane. And naturally, people fall apart, go their separate ways. That's why divorces are so high right now. They're on the rise. So a lot of people today see marriage as a day. The second category of people, they see marriage as an attachment to their lives. They see it as an add-on, an accessory. So I am now married is now an accessory. You understand? So they add the marriage certificate to their engineering certificate. So I am married, I am an engineer, I am also a trained this, I'm also that. So they just add it as qualifications. So it's an add-on. It's an add-on. It's an accessory to your life. It is part of your life. But I'll have you know that marriage is a consumer. It is not part of your life. It consumes your life. It's not a day in your life. It defines your life. It's a serious decision. I don't think this is told to us enough. Marriage is a serious decision. It is a serious decision. I'm speaking as a Christian because I know there are other faiths in the world. So I will talk as a Christian. Everything I'm saying right now is from a Christian point of view. If your faith aligns with what I'm saying, good and well. But I must put that disclaimer out there. Christian point of view. Marriage is a serious decision. This doesn't get said enough in church. Sad. Doesn't get said enough in church. Church, we're talking about other things too much. Talking about investment, business, making money, getting bigger, impacting the world through career. We don't understand that the biggest impact on the world is a successful marriage. So even churches are beginning to talk about marriage like business partnerships. A lot needs to change in the church. That's why young people have no idea of the right things anymore. Marriage is a consumer. It envelopes your life. It changes the course of your life. It is not an attachment to your life. It's not an accessory. It's definitely not a day in your life. It's every day in your life going forward. It takes over everything. If you're in a marriage, you still have a personal path different from your husband. You're a man, you have a personal path not inclusive of your wife. You're doing it wrong. And the devil loves it that way. And the world structure has been designed for you to see it that way. A dysfunction has been seen as a functionality. And that's why people that should be great explosions, at best, they are sparks. A lot of what we are celebrating are sparks. Sparks. We are celebrating fireworks when we should be missiles, weapons of mass destruction to the kingdom of the devil. All we are, fireworks, entertainment, bright in the sky for a while, but no impact on the enemy's kingdom. Marriages are not just a day in your life. They're not an attachment. You've been taught that way because it profits few. A career is a cage. Space for only one. That's why people climb over each other to move ahead in their career. Climb over each other. Somebody must go down for you to go up. Have you ever been promoted in a company and you rise to an office that somebody did not sit on that seat before you? Unless it's a new company. But after you're gone, somebody will sit on that seat after you. A career is a very competitive thing. I don't care how holy you are. You will compete to move ahead. You must take somebody down because a career per time has cage for only one. It's a cage for only one. God didn't create us for careers. He created us for callings. He didn't create us for professions. He created us for purpose. Careers are cages. They aim to steal our identity and to limit our identity. That is why careers come with designations. So when you go to school, learn something, and have a certificate, you just don't have a certificate. You have a new identity. It's a designation. You become engineer this, doctor this, architect this, barrister this. There must be a designation. And the world celebrates that. Because a designation is an individualistic thing. As long as the 1%ers of the world can keep you in a designation, they can manipulate you and limit your effectiveness to only profit them. These things go against God's special plan of world domination called marriage. Why do you think the devil attacks marriages? I've said it in one of my podcasts before. The devil doesn't waste his time. If the devil is attacking something, there should be attention paid to it. There is something there. The devil is attacking marriages because marriages are incredibly valuable. Incredibly valuable. The devil doesn't waste his time. If you're having a bad day, things seem to be happening that you don't understand. There's something special about that day that the devil doesn't want you to key into. The devil doesn't waste his time. That's why it seems like those who live ridiculous lives, it seems like if their lives are smooth. He's got them. No need to waste on any strategy. Let them continue. Makes it easy for them. Nothing he needs to blind them from. They're already walking blindly. But when he sees that there's something great in your life, he will attack that thing. That's why it always seems easier to have a living partner than to have a spouse. Because marriages scare the devil. But they don't scare him anymore because he realized that he can corrupt them by making them individuals, not one anymore. Each of them busy with their personal path and their personal careers. So they never hear their calling. A marriage should have a central calling. Marriage is serious business. It changes your life. Your life should change after marriage. That's why you should consider it carefully before going into it. It's not just about, I like this person, I like his six-pack, I like her figure eight, I like all. No. Those things do not sustain marriages. You feel them today, you don't feel them tomorrow. The six-pack turns into a one-pack. The figure eight turns into a number 0. Well, those things don't keep marriages. You cannot have your own career and be in a marriage. You see, this is a concept that monarchy understands. And they don't want you to understand it. You know where the concept of 1%ers came from? It started from monarchy. from kings and queens and royalty. That's where the concept of 1%ers came from. You were 1% of the society that ruled an empire. That's one thing they didn't reveal to you. When a man who is a king, let's say he is a king in England, and he marries a princess in Netherlands, so she's a duchess there. When he marries her, does she still remain a duchess in Netherlands? No. She takes all her portfolio and goes to this king of England and becomes the queen of England. And they rule that domain together. She doesn't leave every morning and say, okay, bye dear, I'm going to Netherlands right now to run my business. She leaves that, takes all the experience that she has learned and helps the king of England to build England together. That's how monarchy works. But we don't take that from them because they don't teach us that. They don't emphasize that. They just do it and keep quiet about it. And they tell you that you and your wife should wake up and go different directions in the morning. But it's not true. Nobody builds a kingdom by going two different directions. It's not true. Monarchy teaches us. They advocate retirement. Work, retire, and then put you on a pension. But do they retire? Do kings retire? Do they get too old to be king? They stay there. They work as kings till they die. Kings and queens till they die. But they tell you when you are 60, you are too old. 1%ers. See, the interesting thing about 1%ers is all they need to keep from us is also 1% of the secret of their success. They will share 99 with you, but they know that 1% is enough to keep you limited. So a lot of times, some 1%ers, you celebrate them that they are generous. They're sharing everything about success with you, but they realize all that you need is that one thing, that 1%. That very important 1% is what they don't share with you, especially with work. If a queen or somebody who was a princess in a particular kingdom leaves all she has learned, because she was trained in that place as a princess, she was trained. She gets an education in diplomacy, in courage, in how to talk, in how to host. She learns all those things. She takes all those things to another kingdom once she gets married. Why don't you think about it like that? Our modern day queens don't think about it like that. They think about being individualistic and they think they are doing well. But yes, you say, I'm a queen, I'm a queen, I'm a queen. But do queens do that? I'm a king, I'm a king, I'm a king. But you are ruling alone. No kingdom is built by the two individuals going in two different directions. You must have a calling. Your calling swallows your career. Your purpose swallows your profession. You stop having a designation. Designations have restricted so many people. They're like, oh, I don't know what to do. I'm not sure what to do because I'm not this. What do I call myself? I hate that question. People ask you, Mr. Tola, what are you? And for a long time, I've been trying to think of the designation to put myself, but I realized I've been shortchanging myself. I am Tola Alabi. I'm a child of God, called to impact the world. I might be doing podcasting today, but don't be surprised. I can drop it anytime the master tells me, stop, do this thing next. Because I've dropped all my credentials, all my offices, all my designations, all my career, and I am what God tells me to do today. With all audacity, I am that thing. A lot of you have so much potential in you, but you are saying you are not that thing because you don't have a certificate. I went to visit a friend once, went to his house. And as I waited for him in his living room, I looked around his house. Beautiful, well decorated, interior design, incredible. And when he came out, I told him, your house is beautiful. Who did the interior design for you? He said he did it himself. He's not an architect, not a trained architect, no certificate in interior design. He did it himself with his own intuition. At that point he was doing it, God was calling him to do interior design, and he did it marvelously. A lot of you have a lot to express, but you are insecure because it doesn't align with your cage called a career, with your cage called a profession, with your cage called a designation. A lot of you have incredible medical ideas, breakthroughs, cures for things. We're like, oh, I don't have a medical degree. I don't have this. I don't have this in botany. But something is telling you that leaf, that thing, this seed, this oil. But then you're hiding it. Who will believe me? I don't have DR in front of my name. Cage. You're a king, you're a queen. What is the occupation of the Queen of England, apart from Queen of England? William met Kate in school. Do we know what each of them was studying? Because those things do not hold them down. That's why I can ask people on the podcast today, what did William study in school? Tell me without Googling it. What did Kate study in school? Tell me without Googling it. Most of us have to Google it. But what we studied, we paste it on our forehead because it has consumed our identity. And though that's monarchy for you, they live beyond what they study. What they study is just an add-on to them as human beings. They live as free beings. That's why they can dabble into medicine, dabble into this, dabble into different things, dabble into engineering, because they are monarchy. We love to call ourselves kings, queens, but then we don't live that way. So the 1%ers laugh at us. If they want to have the designation, let them have it. They don't understand the 1% information. Feminism doesn't liberate. I must go to my own work, become my own person. It doesn't liberate. But the world will continue to celebrate it. People you respect in society, the 1%ers, will celebrate it. They will celebrate it, I can guarantee you, because it keeps your family small. You know that every single time you wake up and go to a different place from your husband and focus on something different, your husband can never become great. If your husband is not great, your family cannot be great, no matter how high you rise. They know it. Feminism to always be celebrated. Women, have your own. There's a billboard I see around. Have your own, have your own. Sometimes we don't even know what we are doing. We just copy Western culture because these things are highly funded. Yeah, you are highly funded to keep you limited. Have your own, have your own. Men, have your own, have your own. Her own. I even see men advertising her own with their wives because they paid them some money to influence it. At least the influencer gets some money to destroy their lives. You get nothing. You freely, you don't even freely, you pay to destroy your life and to limit your impact. A man and a woman should work together. It's the strongest force in the world. You see, God doesn't rule like a 1%er. From the beginning, he showed us they work as a trinity. That's why he says, we are going to make man in our own image. From the beginning of the Bible, God did not keep that from us. Our own. The Bible tells you it is not good for man to be alone. He said man, not a man. God refers to man as the human being. So it's also not good for the human being woman to be alone. But a lot of us are married and are alone because we have personal path that has an essence of aloneness. Personal career, an essence of aloneness. Personal profession, personal designation, an essence of aloneness. Why do you think when you get married, you drop your name and take your husband's name? Do you think it's just a fancy thing? It's a concept which has no meaning to us anymore. But it's a concept of strength. But we see it as a hindrance. So people have started saying, hey, we don't need to have the same name. You know, people abroad don't do that anymore. I built my career with this name. So I built my brand with this name. So let me use this name outside. That's a foolish statement, but people defend it articulately. A lot of people are swayed by articulation, sweet tongue, sweet words. They sound sensible, but at their very core lack sense. A man shouldn't have a career, a woman shouldn't have a career. Careers are ruining marriages. But the problem is that the problem we have is that we think strong unions are defined by income. That's why the man goes after his own, the woman goes after her own, and then they say we are both great earners. We come back and we pull it together. So I'm working in this, she's working in that, I'm working at all company, she's working in a big bank, she's working in a multinational, I'm working, and people celebrate this, they celebrate these things. They're like, oh, this family is doing well, see how good it's doing. He's the director of this, she's the MD of this, they're doing so well. Because we define success by income. Do you know what she earned? Imagine what her husband earned. See how much they are both making. We don't define success by impact, by income. So you see two high income earning people with very little impact. Very little impact on their children and very little impact on society. The greatest impact is by joining forces. Somebody needs to learn that today. When you get married, you give up your career. You join forces. That's why your husband must have a calling. He must. People think husband is called the head. See, husband, the head. He must submit to God. They think that's about having two meats. Men think it's about give me two meat, I'm the head. No, no, it's not about that. It's about you must hear that calling that your wife comes into. Headship is not about the privilege of extra material things or extra food or extra command. Saying you must listen to me. No, 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 no. I'm the head. We are going here today. No, no, no. Your headship, it's about hearing the call. That's the core of your headship. That's the privilege of headship. It doesn't pass that. I'm telling you. In fact, your wife can eat two meat, you eat none. You understand? It's not about that. It's not about who drives the bigger car. No. Your headship is about, do you have a call? Have you heard the call? The only thing that made Adam a head is that he was the one giving the mandate. That's what headship is. That's all. That's all. So some of you are married to very influential men, very wealthy men, but they are not heads because they have no call. They're just ambitious. Just ambitious. A man only becomes a head when he has a call. That call is the kingdom you and your wife are to build. That call. That's why I talk about men having to be highly, highly prayerful. Prayerful. You must know your call per time. You must know it. You must know your call per time. Men must be highly prayerful. I wrote something on Twitter yesterday. I said feminism is the logical way or a logical female response to a world full of men without spiritual direction. And I'll say that again. Feminism is the logical female response to a world full of men without spiritual direction. So feminism is inevitable where men have no spirituality. Women must think of a way out themselves. They cannot be idle. So if feminism is thriving, it's not because women are more rebellious. It's because men are less spiritual. Show me a spiritual man with spiritual direction and show me his wife as feminist. It's not possible. It is not possible. Women are only feminist because men have failed in their spirituality. They have no spiritual direction. They are not guiding anything or anyone. They are very career-minded. They are going on their personal path. They are not kings. They aren't. We are meant to have a calling, not a career. We are meant to have a calling, not a career. A lot of times, what we study education-wise equips us for our calling. It shouldn't cage us into a career. It should liberate us for our callings. It should liberate us. Once you stop caging yourself into a career and into a designation, you see how much you express. You see with how much confidence you would approach things. What education does is open your mind to possibilities. But nowadays, what education does is restrict our mind to one single expression. That's why an educated person can work in any capacity. As long as they're educated, their mind should be loose. But then you realize that educated people are the most restricted. Say, I can't do this. Not my job description. I can't do this. I didn't learn this. I haven't learned this. I've not done a course on this. I've not done a training on this. So apprehensive about stuff, so scared about dropping the ball. That's failed education. Because a lot of the education we have was instituted by 1%ers to teach us to be insecure, to subvert us, and to manipulate us. Marriage doesn't thrive on individualism. Marriage thrives on union, on surrender, on a joining. We say we are one flesh. Do you understand what that means? I don't know what other faiths say. That's why I'm talking as a Christian. But when I was taking my vows, we were being joined as one flesh. So how can we have different paths? What that means is it's not abstract though. It's reality. It's as real as can be. And because you have different paths, a lot of you are not keen into your spiritual oneness. If something should happen to me right now in my body, my wife should sense it. If something's happening to her, I should sense it. Does that still happen? It doesn't happen. Something just say, man, I don't think my husband is okay. You know? I just feel like my wife needs this thing right now. I'm going to buy it. Something tells me she needs it. That's the sweetness of marriage. It's not all this romance thing we've been taught. The ultimate romance in marriage is spirituality. You asking your wife, how did you know I wanted to eat this? You asking your husband, how did you know I needed a pair of shoes? I never expressed that to you. That's the romance. Not all this, all this made up romance that just helps to empower companies and organizations to make you buy and buy and buy more things. Spirituality is the ultimate romance. It's your wife knowing when you need a hug, knowing when to give you space. It's your husband knowing where to kiss you, whether on your forehead, on your cheek, and stuff like that. Not something he has learned on TV, but something the Holy Spirit leads him to do. But that only happens when you are one. When you are one. Marriage is about oneness. Careers are individualistic cages. They do not help marriages. It's an unpopular opinion, but I dare say it's a true opinion. A lot of people will resist it because you've been taught differently. But I pray that God will open your eyes and enlighten you from the inside to see the truth so that you can start living better. My name is Tola T.A. Alabi, and this is the TA Podcast.